Four years ago, the world was introduced to the adorable water drop Ick as they journeyed to get a gift for their friend Sally, the land whale and GoNNER. The colorful and chaotic indie was well received and held in high regard for its difficulty and presentation alongside its addictive gameplay. Now Ick is back in GoNNER 2, and this time they have to help Death as she has some kind of mysterious presence in her lair. With roguelikes being on top of their game more than ever, I dove into GoNNER 2 to find out if it sticks out and made what was already a good time even better. Let's review GoNNER 2. Full disclaimer, I received a copy of this game for free. Thank you to the people at Raw Fury. Before we head on, I do want to talk more about the original and how it played out so you have a better understanding on how the sequel stands apart. GoNNER was a fairly straightforward arcade-type roguelike. Its style was score-based and gave incentive for keeping a kill streak going as you ventured from world to world collecting runes, which was also currency that could be used to resurrect yourself, and beating bosses to get new equipment. As you progress, you'd find new heads, weapons, and equipment to make the game easier or harder. The more enemies you killed, the crazier the world shaped around you, making it chaotic so as to keep you on your toes. The controls were pretty straightforward. You could jump and shoot. Add in the fact that you could infinitely wall jump, and that's it. You had to position yourself just right or wait for enemies to line up so you could shoot them. The story took a back seat and was more of something you yourself had to find out more of, though it was pretty tame. Now back to the real focus, GoNNER 2. Story-wise, you're going to be getting more or less the same thing as the original. There is no dialogue aside from the mumbles of the residents and other entities that exist in this odd world. Death, who was previously an enemy in the original game, needs your help. Ick, being the stand-up water drop that they are, gladly helps. There's plenty of odd stuff to learn about here, but once again, it's up to you to parse it all out. Visually and audibly, it's still unique and fun to experience. Going through each world as it builds and doing your best to survive as the music pumps up and the world dissolves into complete acid trip is an aesthetic the team has nailed and made even more eye-pleasing from the first. From the fun little boops of the robot enemies to the sounds of your gun obliterating enemies, it's a complete treat to the ears the whole time. The soundtrack is a real banger, and the attention to detail GoNNER 2 has is worthy of all the praise. Sitting in a spawn tube hearing the muffled music pop at the same time you do really makes you want to run into battle so you can see the oh-so-psychedelic colors. Onto the gameplay, I feel that there's been a big improvement. You have full ability to aim now, which doesn't make the game any easier, by the way. Ick now has a dash that can be used not only as movement, but also to damage enemies in case they get too close or if you're out of ammo. The platforming feels the same as the original, with certain blocks being destructible that hide valuable equipment to help you in each world. The enemy variety is nice with both new and returning foes. The guns all feel different and can really make each run feel all unique, needing you to alter your strategies in order to get the edge on enemies. The same with the heads, each giving you some kind of different movement ability, like the floating head where you float, or like my personal favorite, gunhead, which fires alongside your weapon. Added on top of your arsenal is a perk system to help you gain the upper hand as you get further into the run. Some help you do more damage, while others serve as a boost to your speed or your dashes. Ammo and health also seem to be more abundant than the first as well. As of writing this, I still have more than a couple things to unlock, like any type of new backpack / extra equipment. Sometimes not being too good at something can really bite you on the ass when it comes to reviewing. The bosses in this game come off as simple, but they are just as unforgiving as the original. One second you'll be confident to take down this ugly floating face, and the next you lose your head as the game turns into a bullet hell, leaving you scrambling to stay alive. The game wants you to underestimate it. The improvements overall led to a more cohesive, fast-feeling game that really makes you feel accomplished as you dash and shoot through each room. I played on both mouse and keyboard and also an Xbox 360 controller, and while I didn't have issues with either, I will say that I preferred using the trusty Xbox 360 controller on this one. As a quick side note, this game does support local co-op, but I was unable to get any footage of this because of the current coronavirus situation we have going on, so I cannot accurately judge this aspect of the game. My apologies. I didn't find myself without gripes, however. With the score multiplier visual effect carrying over, I was reminded that it's still frustrating when you've got a good streak going and you're suddenly hit and it becomes almost too hard to find yourself amongst a colorful mash of chaos. Don't get me wrong, I know it's part of the punishment, but there is such a thing as too much going on the screen. Another issue I found happened to me more than once was during boss rooms. After losing my head and having to use my runes to respawn, I ended up being trapped by the boss and its ads as they hovered over the spawn tube. No matter what I did, it ended in death as I tried to get back into the arena only to be instantly smashed by the boss. It happened more on certain bosses than others, the big dumb bird being the primary offender. While GoNNER 2 is mostly difficult to a fair degree, it isn't without, well, being unfair as well. A bit more of a neutral gripe, but it would have been nice to be able to bind keys or buttons to do whatever action I wanted it to. I suffered from no technical issues when playing this, and it ran at a smooth 60 FPS on PC. When it comes to GoNNER 2, I absolutely enjoyed the hell out of it. Continuing on the style of not giving a numbered or graded review, I'd just say that I absolutely recommend it. Really, for everybody. The pros massively outweigh the cons here. If you're a fan of fast-paced, non-handholdy roguelikes, this is right up your alley. It's clearly a game made with a lot of passion, and it didn't take too long to hook me, the same as the original did years ago. I really wouldn't pass this game up and can easily see it being one of my favorite indies of the year. Thanks for listening.